If you don't get this, if you don't like line up this porta-john for yourself, there's a chance that you don't get a shit before the race starts.
Yeah.
And you'll poop yourself.
Yeah, you will. It's a true story.
You will poop yourself a mile.
It's a true story.
And then you have to run with diarrhea down your leg.
Yeah.
For another 16 miles.
You know what? You got to do what you got to do.
Hashtag truth. And that's bad math.
Hashtag nothing.
You poop yourself at 8. You're not running.
No, because then you drop at 24.
Because then you DNF at 24. Because the poop has dried and chafed, and now you're bleeding from your rectum.
Could you imagine?
God.
Just like dried shit.
Just dried shit.
All down someone's leg.
And it's just,
and just bleed.
And then bloody shit. And then on the official DNF report card, DNF due to dried bloody shit. DNF bloody shit.
DNF DBS.
DBS. How about news, Scott?
No.
All right. Intro. Go. Hit it.
Hit it. Welcome to Running Beer and BS, a podcast where we discuss those things and more. I'm Flores.
I'm Johnny.
And this is episode 18. Today we're going to talk about the running industry, how it's changed in the last decade-ish, and kind of some of the issues that may have come along with that. John is nodding in agreement to the beer we're drinking tonight.
Heck yeah. That is a good one.
All right.
That might be... I might have a second favorite Hefeweizen.
Ooh, well, tell us a little bit about the beer and where it came from.
All right, so tonight, so oddly enough, my wife firmly believes up until that we always have multiple beers every night. Every time we record, she always thinks we have multiple beers.
Really?
Like, no, we always have. She's, well, when you're recording, I hear you say all the time, I'm going to have to get another one. I'm going to have to get another one. I said, yeah. So I'd like to get another one, but we never get another one. I always say I'd like to get one.
It requires us like getting up, stopping the recording.
So tonight we actually are having multiple beers, only because we are getting backlogged in our beers. But anywho, more about what we're drinking right now, or as Flo likes to say, what is dehydrating us right now?
Yeah.
So I am going to totally butcher this brewery's name. What do you think that is? Wrench?
I think Wrench sounds right.
Wrench? It's RENTSCH. But you should know that because you should be following our Instagram stories. I just posted it too there. So it's Wrench Brewery, and it is out of Texas. This is one of the beers that Jesse sent up to us from down yonder.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you, buddy. And dude, that is have you tasted it yet?
Yeah, I did.
That is a good Hefeweizen.
I'm going to be completely honest. Not a huge Hefeweizen fan.
Yeah.
However, it's tolerable.
Yeah. Have you? Okay, so now you know what this one really reminds me of. It's a lot like Stas's.
Yes, it is. It's definitely got a heavy on the banana note, which is good. I like it when it has a little more of that banana-y flavor.
And less of the weedy kind of flavor?
Less of that extra.
More banana.
Because that weedy just sound, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's a little too much. Because when you just have like the taste of banana, it just like tastes all wheat.
There is a ton of banana in it. You're right.
It is pretty delicious, though. I
like this one a lot. It's nice and sweet and banana-y. But here's like me being a granola-eating hippie trail runner that I am. It's brewed with 100% wind power in Georgetown, Texas.
Wind.
So, Georgetown, Texas, 100% wind power brewed.
Whereabouts is Georgetown? I'll look that up.
I don't know. But that's kind of a cool. That's I don't know the ABV on this one because I haven't looked at it, but it is. This is a good beer. I like this one a lot. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. What's it say on the based on a traditional German wheat ale recipe? This modern Hefeweizen is perfectly balanced for a relaxing afternoon. Enjoy soft flavors from German malts, American wheat, and Texas water.
Texas water.
Texas water.
It's bigger. It's bigger in Texas.
It's bigger in Texas.
But I like that a lot. Thank you very much, Jesse.
Yeah, that is a
really good one.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good, and we'll get to the second one a little later. So once we finish this one, probably halfway through, we'll get there. It's just outside of Austin. Is that where he's from?
That's where. Remember, he's from. Because he travels a lot from Yellow Springs to Austin.
It was Austin. So yeah, it's just it's like a suburb of Austin.
A suburb thereof.
So kind of like Delaware to Columbus.
Hashtag save the crew.
Hashtag.
You can't have it, Jesse. You can't have the crew.
Oh, that's true. If you get the crew, I would say unsubscribe, but please don't do that.
No.
Because you're nice.
No.
You sent us
I
beer.
like the crew, but I like listeners better.
I like listeners and beer better.
So I just pulled this up on Untapped real fast. It is 5.4% ABV.
I need to make sure I do that.
And it does have a super low IBU. It is 10.
Really?
I mean, there is no hoppiness.
There's no bitterness
to this at all.
What's the one called? Just Hefeweizen? Doesn't have a cool name.
No, and like looking at
none of theirs do.
As I pulled theirs up, none of them really have it. You know what? I'm kind of surprised on everyone's rating on Untapped. This is only coming in at 3.56.
Well, I think it's because it's a Hefeweizen. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a good beer. Some people are real rating snobs. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never give something a 4 unless it, like, absolutely blows my mind.
Oh, see, that's, yeah.
See, 4 is like 4, if I could, like, tolerate and drink it and I'm happy with it,
yeah, it's
probably like a 3.75 and 4. Like, if I'm, like, ecstatic, that's when I go, like, over 4.5.
Yeah. I mean, this is even somewhere, see, like, this is where it gets tricky. This is somewhere between a 3.75 to a 4.25 for me. So it's going to be a 4.
So we'll call it a 4.
So we're going to round that 3.75 to 4.25 to a 4.
Back to a previous episode.
Back to yodeling in the Walmart.
That's a whole nother story. I was listening to, did we talk about this with Chris and Leah talking about that guy? Like, what's worse is it's bad enough they call him the yodeling kid, but they call him the Walmart yodeling kid. He's like, if I was a Walmart comedian, he was, I'd kill myself. He's like, I'm not telling this kid to do this though. Don't do that. I'm just saying. Chris D'Elia,
I can see where he'd be an acquired taste for many people.
Yeah, and mostly that people don't acquire it because they're just like, no thanks.
Yeah.
No.
So that's the beer for today, and then
we'll break out the other one later.
Yeah, we'll do another, like, basically a smaller version of what we're drinking.
Yeah, and don't worry, this is only going to be a 2-beer episode. Now, I want to thank everyone for listening to last week's episode, the crap beer episode.
You guys really liked that for some. You guys are sadists.
Yeah, that, like, people telling us that we needed to do it like biannually.
God, no.
Like maybe once every 2 years.
If biannual you mean every 2 years, I could maybe do that. I am still like, I still think back about the Ice House. I was at work talking to people at talking to our marketing team, and I was like, there is something really scary in Ice House.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys who at work also listens to the podcast, he's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have drank it like 4th. This is before it released, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. I was like, we drink it number 2.
It was number 2.
And I said, I'm telling you, man, it was only the second beer we drank. And we let off with like a High Life.
Yeah. Which that was nothing.
Yeah.
It was like, that was smooth. Those things went down smooth. Yeah. Like, all right, I still got 2 in the fridge. I almost had one this weekend. I was a little dehydrated, a little parched. I'm like, you know what? Wet my whistle with just a little bit of High Life. But yeah, thanks for listening to that episode. People really seem to enjoy it. You guys actually, the retention on that episode was like in like the upper 80%, which means most of you listened to all of it. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't listen to all of it when I was editing it. But yeah, it was something else. I mean, we'll probably have to do it again.
You know what's kind of cool is I did not wake up with the hangover that I thought I would. I think the fact that we did it early enough in the day.
Yeah.
And I went home and like drank water and hydrated. And
did I tell you the text your wife sent me?
Yes. Yeah. She was not uber. What's funny is I get home and my daughter is down there with her, boyfriend or whatever. And I was like, well, hello. And like, was sitting like
Daddy's pictures. Drunk again at 5:30.
I was sitting like selfies of like myself and my daughter and her boyfriend. Like my daughter's like yelling like and all of her 14-year-old angst of like, Dad, stop!
Stop it! You're embarrassing me.
Like,
I think what
I know. Get out of my house.
I think what like put us over the edge, which was kind of funny, was, and we didn't even. I don't think we posted anything about this. Is we did that little shot of Hypnotic when we got back in because we were cleaning stuff out. I remember Chad's like, when we said that to him, he's like, did you spell something wrong? I'm like, nope, that's exactly how it's spelled. Blue liquid.
On the flavor profile, I'm still messing with Untapped because I'm trying to multitask.
Yeah, you're fine.
Literally number 1 on the flavor profile is banana. I cannot stress how banana this beer is.
Banana. BANANAS.
what's that singer's name?
Gwen Stefani.
I mean, imagine how many people she's taught to spell banana.
Yeah. This shit is... There's guys at high school that made like a parody video, and they literally just put bananas in toilets, and he's like sitting on the toilet, like pants down, like just... And he just literally is like, this shit is banana. And like they like pan to the toilet, and it's just like mushed up bananas just all in the... It was
Weird.
Quite gross. I had fun. I had nice friends in high school.
Sounds it.
I know some of them listen to this podcast, so I don't know if they remember that video. No one that was in the video, but someone that may have seen it. God, my throat is killing me today.
Drink a beer, man.
Yeah, I guess I've got to do that. But anything other in your week that we need to catch up on?
Well, let's see. What else happened? I mean, we record on Sundays, as everyone knows, and today's Mother's Day, so I did have a nice little Mother's Day brunch down at the Walrus, downtown Columbus.
What sound does a walrus make?
Oh, don't they make like a big groaning noise? Yeah. Hey, you guys. I don't know. It was good though. I don't know. It's the first time I've ever been there. Anyways, but
where is that? Where is that downtown?
It is on Main, between 3rd and 4th. What's kind of cool is like, I don't know. Maybe I don't go downtown enough to really keep discovering things. You could make a kick-ass night out on just starting at Main on 4th and walking north, because here's what you can hit. Actually, I take it back. It'd make more sense to start north and walk down, because you can start all the way north and you can hit Wolf's Ridge. Boom. Fun.
Yep.
And then you would go to Penn's Mechanical.
Yeah, because it's the next block.
And then you could hit Elevators, little like creepy ass.
So sketchy.
So sketchy looking. But the floor is fucking sticky. That floor is as sticky as my college house that I lived in was sticky. It is fucked up. But it is really cool in there.
Yeah.
And they're super nice. So then you can hit Elevator. And then still walking south down 4th, the next thing you would hit would be... you would hit... it'd be 16-bit.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, do we hit Pins already?
Yeah. Pins was right after Wolf
And
Ridge.
then 16-bit. And then after 16-bit on the same block, like same building, I think. After 16-bit is Late Night Slice.
Oh yeah.
And then after Late Night Slice is like permanent place, you end on Main Street at the Walrus.
At the Walrus. Then you take an Uber home.
And you are faux show Ubering home. Yeah. Yeah. But it was,
Uber, not yet a sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah. Let's go with the Lyft.
Lyft. Uber.
Banned by.
Yeah, never going to be a sponsor of this podcast. Hey, Lyft, you hear that? We only want you. Hey, girl, you up?
Hey, girl. Slide them DMs. But yeah, that's what we did. And then got some good runs, like last minute runs in, getting ready. Lacrosse audience. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I know for the moms that's listening, I know it's like a couple days late, but Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
I guess we should have done that last week. Give the preemptive Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, while we were drinking all those shitty beers.
Hey, mom. Hey, mom, congratulations. You did this.
I love you. This is your fault, moms. It all started with our fathers.
Yeah. Belated Happy Mother's Day to everybody. That is kind of it for the weekend pass.
Ooh. Let's jump right into the running industry. We've had this is kind of a topic that John and I had originally talked about and tried to figure out what we want to do with, and we've had a couple other listeners kind of give similar things to it, so we've kind of combined it all into a master thing that we're just calling the running industry. So this is probably the first episode I've actually done a little bit of like pre-research for.
Pay no attention to man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I actually did some research for this.
I actually did some looking up because I wanted to get some like decent stats about like running itself, because obviously people that run, you probably run if you listen to this, or you just like banter, but it obviously has grown. I found an article talking about from 2004 to 2014 the number of Americans who ran 25 to 109 runs a year. So they call that an occasional runner.
Not necessarily races, but just running.
Running in general. So
I'm like, who
days
the
running.
Fuck
Sorry.
runs that many? I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of money.
Days running. That had increased by 60%. And in that same time, they call frequent runners, which are people that have run 110 runs or more a year, went from 9.9 million to from 6.4 million to 9.9 million people in that 10-year span. And then in that, the largest representation of that group was women 25 to 34, and women have outnumbered men in the U.S. since 2012 in running.
So when you first told me this stat, that I was like, well, duh, that's an obvious stat, right? Okay. So when you first told me this stat, I was like, well, that's obvious. Like women outnumber men, of course, like by about that percentage. So of course it should be. But then when you told me, however,
it was, I think in the last like decade, like 15 or 20 years, that number was, so 56% of the total, there was 15.5 million race finishers in 2012 from this stat, 56% of those being female.
Which to that, I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. That 56% of the finishers are female.
Right. But in 1990, there was only 4.8 million total finishers, so 4.8 to 15.5, and only 25% of those.
That is crazy.
So in 20 years,
they doubled their numbers. That is awesome.
And I think it just comes to the fact of like people realizing that like there's an additional sport out there and it probably comes into line. I kind of brought this in our notes talking about we probably should do an episode on women, maybe get an actual woman runner like on the podcast to kind of talk about it.
Because what do we know about women?
Yeah, obviously. I don't know why they're still married to us.
So tolerant.
Yeah, that's... It's tolerant, charity cases, I don't know, whatever.
Still drugged.
Yeah. It's not funny though. I forgot where I was going.
So we talk about how they doubled the number.
With the women, I think because it's become more of a light and, right now, especially like American women, like the way the American women are running, it is making like a huge difference, I think, for the younger generation because they're just kicking ass. They're kicking Ethiopians and Kenyans' asses.
You had an American win New York, you had an American win Boston. Yeah. I mean, they're killing it. Shit.
And then you have the stories like, because, and I'll call the Ethiopians and the Kenyans and basically most people of Boston like quitters. Like for you to drop out of a race at mile 18 because you weren't going to win, that's a whole nother topic. But
it's kind of weird that you bring that up because like I saw on the Possum page, people were actually, there's like a pretty good debate going on about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
didn't see that.
Yeah. They were talking about, because someone said, hey, the heart that you have to hang in there and finish.
Right.
That Boston race because it was just brutal that day.
Right.
And then someone was like, well, it's different because they're elites and they got to worry about the next race. And they got to worry about this. They got to be cognizant. It's not like us back at the Packers that we're just like trugging through it. They got real shit to be concerned about.
Right. But even then, most of these cases, it's not that they're hurt. It's just that they're not going to win.
Yeah, yeah, and they just like, well, if I can't win, so
right. That's the difference. If they're feeling like, all right, I've got a tightness, something's happening. By all means, yes, this is their career, this is their livelihood that they're dealing with.
It's strictly they're not going to win. It's almost like a pouting, like I'm going to take my ball and go home kind of mentality.
But when you saw the top 10, and I think all but one were from North America.
Well, there's one there. What wasn't. The
second place.
She wasn't even an elite, was she?
No.
She was like
it was her second marathon or first marathon, second marathon. She had qualified because she's a nurse.
Yeah.
And was just training and basically like ran. She used to run, apparently she used to run track in college or high school. I read an article on her, and we're going off the woman tangent right now, but it's fine. And I read an article about her talking about she ran fast. She just did this. She just happened to get a qualifying time to start with the elite people.
Yeah.
So she got like her name on the bib. She's like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like whatever.
This is kind of cool.
And literally she said she had to rebook her flight because she wasn't going to be there for interview day because obviously she didn't expect to place.
Yeah.
So they had to like rebook her flight. She was filled with interviews and like phone calls and all this stuff. And
so
she goes,
awesome.
So race is on Monday. All of her interviews are on Tuesday. She's back at work on Wednesday.
Being a nurse,
waiting for the sponsorship calls.
Nurses kick ass.
Hey, Saucony.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
She's doing her rounds on the floor with Sauconys on out, like compression sleeves on and shit.
It just like street branded like in the Talladega Nights. She's like, I do love Fig Newtons. It's like, but this is sure distracting. So there's been a lot of runners. The runners have absolutely grown. The whole industry has just like taken off, and for the good and bad. Like, I think a lot of people started running when the health rise came through, like, hey, we probably should take care of ourselves, do some more cardiovascular type exercises. Running became that thing because for all intents and purposes, running's a cheap hobby to get into is like training and like for cardio purposes, because all you need is shoes.
Yeah. You don't need
to pay to learn how to trail run.
Technically, you don't need expensive shoes. I mean, you can go get, that's a whole nother tangent we'll get on here in a few minutes about that.
Yeah, we'll get on that one.
But, along with the, talk about the way the sport has grown, you have the people who initially did it because of health benefits and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then you got the people who, like I started running also because of the health benefits. But what really kind of drugged me like deep into the addiction of running was the FOMO.
Yeah.
Like the fear of,
you have FOMO bad.
I am a horrible FOMO. I am the worst.
If you guys don't know FOMO, John did just say it, but it's a fear of missing out.
Yeah, FOMO. FOMO. Fear of missing out. FOMO. Like, I am the king of FOMO. Like, I can't stand seeing like kick-ass pictures. People are like, totally crushed this. Oh, hey, by the way, congrats to people who destroyed Thunder Bunny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so saw a couple people crush Thunder Bunny down there this weekend. And I know two guys who went out and did pretty good at a race out in PA. But anywho, put 50 miles, I believe. Distractions. Squirrel. But no, I am bad about FOMO. So now you got the people, you got people who sign up because they want to be healthy. And then, they're at the office, they're telling their friends, oh yeah, I've slimmed down. I'm down to pant size.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be down to pant size. Well, I want to go see this. I want to go see that.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're in it.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're signing up. Your neighbor's talking to you about this cool trail race that's
you
a
got
50K.
You got some neighbor yelling across the yard at you about signing up for a 50K trail race.
Hey, you want to do this 50K? It's not that much further than a marathon. Let's just do that. So I think... So John said, that the FOMO for sure. I think I kind of started in it as I needed something cheaper than golf when I moved to Ohio as fitness wise. And I was like, oh, running sounds good. It'll be cheaper than golf. It's definitely not at this point. But I wanted to support races with charity. We've kind of talked about this many times before about trying to find races that support causes and stuff like that. But one thing we've seen is in the growth of this whole running thing and commercialization. I keep messing up that word. Commercialization. What he said. What we find in this is if there's a buck to be made, someone's going to make it. Which again, you know what? Capitalism. I get it. It makes sense. If you need to sell something, sounds good. But I think what's changed in running since it started is they did a lot of these races for charity. So whether it's a 5K, 10K, whatever, it was like, let's do it for a cause. We're getting together. Most of the time it was just walking. You always heard of just walking 5Ks.
Yeah.
And now I've read a few articles in my brief research of people literally quitting their jobs to become race directors.
Right. And like I know Jonathan said it, but like there's nothing wrong with it. But the bad thing is now you've almost got people who are taking advantage, almost, where portions of the proceeds go to charity.
Right. What's that portion?
What portion? And by the way, do the portions go to the charity unless you check like a little block? Like, how do the portions go to the charity? Right. Like,
John brought up a local race last week in the Crap Beer episode, kind of talking about that. It's that kind of situation where you're like, you say a portion. Well, what's the portion? What does it actually go towards? And is it off the top? Is it is it a portion after everything is paid, or is it a portion from the top?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I get it. Like, people's got to make money. I mean, I
right. But I think what happens in that same case is you're basically oversaturating with races. I mean, from, I would say, end of March to damn near November, you probably could find at least a 5K within 30 miles of Columbus.
Are you kidding me? We got a running club down in Columbus that uses their same trail multiple times a month, probably for a race.
Yeah.
So they beat the shit out of their course.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been gifted this absolutely magnificent piece of property. Oddly enough, they were gifted it because they jacked up another course. Which, I mean, how about the irony there?
Yeah.
Hey, you completely destroyed this course, and then they get given another one.
Oh yeah.
And now they're messing it up. So yeah, I mean,
but it comes to a point of is why are you doing this? And it goes twofold. As I read some articles that Actually, in the last 3 years, runner participation has actually gone down. Should I turn on the light? Is it too dark in here?
It is getting weird. Like, I'm like something. Oh, you know what? I think it's your.
It's
computer
the
screen.
It's the computer screen. I'll turn this light on. Oh, there we go. Now we can see things. The actual like overall runner percentage has gone down, and business people are equating it to is. Because of oversaturation, too many races, too many things like this, people are becoming a little pickier, and it's causing race directors to kind of rethink, like, hey, maybe the charities we're supporting aren't what things, or maybe people want to support charities, or maybe they're not getting enough swag, or like, what can we do to change this? Because the last 3 years there has been a slow, not a steep decline, but a slow decline in participation.
That's what we refer to in the business world as a diminishing return.
Ooh, it's like they hit the ceiling, and you're like, oh, how much more money can we spend in this? You're not getting anything else out of it.
It's just to equate it to, like, I mean, here's a direct, correlation to, for you Ohio State fans. Ohio State football keeps upping their tickets every year. And guess what? People keep paying for it.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, races, there kept being more races, more races. People kept signing up. So at some point, OSU's and they raised their football tickets to so high that people are like, F this. And they'll no longer get their 110,000 seat sellouts.
Yeah. And
we have hit that critical mass for running. We haven't quite hit it yet, obviously, for OSU tickets, because those things are still god-awful expensive. So we've hit the critical mass, but...
Yeah, in road racing, this has happened, I say it a few years ago. Trail running is still on the up and up,
still climbing.
But it's going to be close. I read an article from an Australian company that said that they had like 3 highly competitive ultra races in Australia the same weekend. And like, Australia is not that big.
Right.
Like, population-wise, to have that many ultra race, like big races that you want top tier athletes to perform at.
And it's so weird that you would think they would get together and like coordinate that to where, I mean, like, I understand that. But I mean, racing has evolved into, or not racing necessarily, but running has evolved into where it's like even themed races now. I mean, you got everything from like color runs to like the hot chocolate run to the phone runs to
your warrior dash, your Spartan,
dashes.
Your stuff. And it kind of tagging along before we go down that line. Sorry. One stat that I did find in 2014, there were more than 30,000 running events taking place in the U.S. from 5K, 10K, 5 mile, half marathon, as a whole, running specific events. So not your obstacle course races, color runs would fall into this. More than 30,000 across the U.S.
That is crazy.
That's nuts.
How many is that a day? I feel like that math should be really easy.
Well, no, there's no way that the math's easy. So let's
30,000. Well, because it's 365. So I mean, I was just trying to do like.
Well, let's do 52 weeks because these aren't going to be every day. So that's 567 a week divided by 2. That's 288 every Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some races during the week, but
you might have
more often than not, we'll skew it to 250.
Yeah.
So 250 races every weekend day. So every Saturday, every Sunday.
So that weekend. That's just going to prove that. I mean, if you want to run,
there's no excuses about opportunities.
There's nothing around. There's got to be something around.
You're looking at the wrong place. Yeah. Sorry, John. Continue with it.
No, but yeah. So like, well, it's kind of funny because the guy kind of brought up something like. Talk about all the different kind of runs. You got all those themes, the color runs, the hot chocolate runs. I mean, there's just so much out there now that they are truly trying to tap into every single person they can. I mean, they're going to find a way to appeal to even your non-runners, and try to bring them into the running world, which that's what, I don't know. I mean, Spartan races and warrior dashes and stuff like that. Runs, not runs. I mean, they're obstacle courses. I mean, you run from obstacle to obstacle, but I don't know if it's really. But I mean, they're
still challenging, but
they're challenging. I mean, I'll tell you what.
I have no upper body strength. There's no way I'm climbing up a wall.
I'll tell you what. That's one of the ways that Jen got into running.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so her first couple things was, and what's funny is like, every Halloween, around Halloween, down at Alum Creek, they have a zombie run.
Okay.
Which is essentially, take the idea of the warrior dash, right? And then around every obstacle, you have zombies.
Okay.
So you have like little things hanging off from you, and the goal is to get through this 5K course with like as many things attached to you as possible. Gotcha. So I mean, it's just crazy how many different ideas there are out there to try to get people into running.
And with like the color runs and stuff like that, statistic again, I'm just going to be the stat man. I'm the stat. You remember Scat Man?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll make that the intro song.
I don't know, because I know Scat is something other. Never mind.
Yeah.
So
60% of color run participants had not previously run a 5K or longer.
that is absolutely
And
bonkers.
they said, I can't remember the stat because I didn't write it down, but there was something like 70 or 80% of color run participants are because they saw their friend do it the previous year or a previous event on social media.
and they thought they had fun.
And they thought, like, hey, that looks kind of fun. Maybe I'll get started. And
FOMO.
It could be, yeah, exactly. It could be great as like, hey, you're getting people into the sport. But at the same time, these color runs aren't cheap. You're looking at like $60 for a 5K.
Dude, that is,
and then they're selling merch and then they're doing it. And guess what? It goes nowhere.
Oh, people are dropping mints on those.
It's literally just going straight to the pockets. It's straight corporate, which again, capitalism, if there's a buck to be made, so be it. But I think it's taking the roots of people, race directors like myself and John and the Possums and those kind of things of saying
Roy Hager and Wild Bill Wagner up in Cleveland area.
Right, we're wanting to give back to the community. And these kinds of things, it's hard to distinguish between the two because they're like, well, these people, yes, I'm paying $10 more, or I'm only paying $10 more, but I get 3 T-shirts. Or the freaking hot chocolate run, you get this like sweet ass half zip and stuff like that, and you're just like, yeah, you're paying $70, but guess what? It's paying for that jacket. You may pay $65 for a race, but you're getting some pretty cool shit, and the money's going to charity.
I mean, and then you got your, I mean, those are huge, but then you got your like monster companies too. I mean, you got, I think I was watching Shark Tank, as a matter of fact, and they were talking about this. There are literally corporations now, running corporations that, or franchises rather, that sell out their franchise licenses.
Oh, really?
Around the U.S. And so, you have those popping up now where like, and that one was more of an obstacle course I was watching where they're like an obstacle course style run, but they are just basically selling their ideas. And I mean, imagine the money that's being made. Yeah. And the bad thing with these like big ones is as stuff gets so big, you lose what it really once was.
Yeah.
Great example. One of the ones that I've personally never run one that I'm aware of, but you have like your event series kind of races, like your rock and rolls and all that.
Oh, you've never done a rock and roll?
I don't think I've ever done a rock and roll.
I've done a handful of them,
but like every person I've ever talked to who's done rock and roll, they're like, yeah, I'm pretty good never doing that
you're
again.
Paying for the hype. I mean, you're paying for a concert, you're paying for whatever, and it's
never, from what I've experienced, it's never lived up. True.
It's only true if you're on the half marathon.
Yeah.
Every single one of the rock and roll courses are good for a half marathon.
And that's
the full races, they literally are like, we're favoring the half marathon runners. If you want to do a full, that's fine.
And you know why,
but like
folks?
The food gets done. The food is over. Everything's done.
And call me a conspiracy theorist, but I'd be willing to bet if we check their numbers, it's because the majority of the interest is in the half marathon.
Yep.
So that's who they're going to cater to. That's their sweet spot. That's where they make the most bang for their buck.
They sell things like these VIP packages and stuff where it's like, give us an extra $200 and you'll get a special porta potty and like you'll start in one of an earlier corral or stuff like this. And
with this next like paragraph is why we really wanted to get into this conversation of the running industry, because we really wanted to kind of talk about the running industry as a whole, but more about like the downfalls of the running industry.
Yeah. Before we get into the downfalls, we'll get into there. Are you done with your beer yet?
I can be.
Let's finish them off and then we'll start the next one.
I really did enjoy that beer.
That was very good. Oh, government warning, you may get pregnant.
Jonathan's going to get pregnant.
I'm going to get it pregnant, Tracy Morgan style.
Dude, have you watched his new TV show, The Last OG?
I haven't, but I heard it's hilarious.
Dude, it is so effing funny.
Tracy Morgan is the best.
Is it weird? Like, I feel like I can still see a difference from post-bus accident to pre-bus accident. Is that weird? Like,
no.
Like, I feel like even like in his like speech pattern and even like in his like
I mean, he was in a coma for a good little bit, wasn't he?
There's like, I think so. And I think there's like, I think it I think I can still see a difference, but that might all be in like subliminal. That might be in my head.
It could be that, and it's like character too. Because I mean, he was already kind of there, but he seems slow to respond.
Yeah,
and some things. His speech pattern. He'll get off topic sometimes.
Yeah,
I think it could be.
And we can pick up on off topic shit.
Look at this beer.
We know someone who can get off topic.
Yeah. All right, so
now
I'll talk about this beer here. We've got this
beer
again.
Here.
Get your beer here,
dude. You know what we should do? Dude, we should do a fucking event. We should do a run, beer, and BS event out at a ball game.
All right, well, we can make that. I'm sure we can make that happen.
The Clippers.
We could definitely do a Clippers.
That'd be fun as shit.
We'll just reach out to like a promo, be like, hey, can we get like a group rate or something like that? We'll get like a group together and sell the. All right, that's an idea. We'll talk about that off the recording. We need to drink 2 beers more often. Okay. I just noticed that this is primarily American.
I do like that.
Generally Southern, primarily American. We've got Meta Modern Session IPA from Oasis. Oasis, is it Oasis Texas Brewing Company or Oasis and it's a Texas brewing company?
You know what's funny is I had to look this one up earlier because I couldn't remember it. Because when I first got them in from Jesse, I was pretty geeked out and I was going through and I was looking them all up.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ones I had to look up.
Nope, it's Oasis Texas Brewing Company. That's what that is actually called in the can too. Again, this is another Austin beer. Citra and Mosaic cosmically coalesce in this juicy, transcendent beer thanks to a special technique called hop bursting. Deliberately small, beyond modern. Sorry, the text is kind of weird written on here, so that's why it's hard for me to drink.
It's hard to read. So the people who don't know, this can is...
It's a little all over the place.
Whoa.
Is it good?
That is good. Hey, you know what? This actually has the thing on the back of it that we didn't know what it was. No, it's me and Scott Wolf. Me and Scott Wolf is looking at this. You're looking at this label, right?
Yeah.
All right, something actually, I'll put this picture out here right now.
The OG, is that what you're
OG 10.5.
That's Gravity.
I've never seen that rating on the back of a beer can.
I've never seen it on a can, but
on a bottle or anything. Like I was like, what the fuck is
it's
the OG
Gravity?
10.5?
I don't know much about Gravity.
You know who we should reach out to?
John Mayer, because he knows a little bit of Gravity.
You know who'd know a ton about it?
It's working.
You and John Mayer. Like have a
whatever
interest.
I'd have his love child.
Right back to getting pregnant. We should reach out to the Stasses and have them explain the OG.
We should have an episode that just like explains beer things.
I mean, that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd find it interesting.
I'll write that down.
But anywho,
talk about the beer. Sorry,
I've already taken a drink of it. That is good. It is. Let me get another taste of it so I can tell you. It's not hoppy. It's not super hoppy. It's just kind of nice, and that's a good summer beer.
Yeah.
I can see where if you sit down in the hot ass heat of Austin, Texas, like in a July, August kind of day.
You mean like November?
Dude, I honestly, God, I think I'd die. I went to Houston one time in March, maybe. And I honestly God thought I was going to die of heat stroke.
I went in July. I went to a Mets game at the Astrodome. Astrodome in July.
That is awesome.
It's a super cool. We got there and it was a rainy day. So they had the retractable roof closed. Yeah. And it's one of the roofs that actually, it doesn't split in the middle. It goes from one side all the way to the other. But it was a fireworks night. So we were sitting in upper decks because my brother-in-law worked for Marathon Oil. Yeah. And they got tickets and the Mets just happened to be playing that game. So that's why we were there. And so it was firework night and the rain had stopped during the game. So we got to see the roof completely open up and then watch the fireworks. Yeah, yeah. It was really cool. That was a pretty cool place.
Yeah. All right, let me try this. I really like this a lot. I actually see, and like amazingly.
Ooh, that is delicious.
I think that's a 4.25 for me on the rating on the old Untapped-a-gram.
Yeah, and you can find us on Untapped. We talked about it earlier, but we'll have the links in the show notes. You can find all of our show notes at runningbeerandbs.com/EP018 for episode 18. You'll be able to see the beer we're drinking, everything we're talking about. I'll post some of the articles we're talking about too. But talking about this, you'll have our Untapped
juicy.
links. It is very juicy.
I like that.
Generally Southern, primarily American.
I'm adding Juicy to the profile list. It's kind of weird that it's not in there.
Yeah, that's really good.
I like that one a lot. I dare say, as much as I went on about how good the previous one is, I kind of like this one a little bit better.
I like it a lot better just because I don't like Hefeweizens.
Yeah.
But this is actually a really smooth IPA.
Yeah. I wonder if it's because, now, generally speaking, we have I'm more generally speaking, are session IPAs smoother than standard IPAs?
I don't know what session means, to be honest. Because there's session other things as well.
Right. I think session is a style of...
Session in craft beer. If there's only a way we could look this up.
If only there was a machine where we could type questions in, and then like on that machine there was also a page or like billions and billions and billions of pages,
right,
where you could type stuff in and it would give you an answer. I just unlocked the badge. Riding steady.
Woohoo!
So this is a low alcohol. Again.
Yeah, we'll talk to the Stasses.
Jesse taking care of us and not sending us like super boozy shit.
Yeah.
This one's 4.5. This is 4.5%.
But that's why,
ABV.
like you said, it's smooth. It's not too hoppy. It's super smooth and juicy. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really good.
I like this one a lot.
All right,
Yeah.
back into the topic. So as John was talking about, this is kind of the whole reason this thing came up is kind of the negatives to it. So
what
leading up to
do we
this,
think? And so it's what do we think is cool? What do we think is not cool? And mind you, we get it. Some people are going to think that people are going to be like, "What are you talking about? That's awesome that they do that." Other people are like, "Yeah, I don't think that's awesome." So good example. Some people, some people think it's a great idea to pay for like coaching and pay for training and all this other kind of stuff. I just happen to be of that mindset that just the best coach is life itself, man. Just get out there and kind of grip it and rip it and go for it. But along with that whole like paying for like coaching and paying for like coaches are great if you need to be held accountable and you have like a hard goal and you need someone like kicking your ass to get you there. I get that. I totally get that. I guess my bigger thing is like if you are just paying to go to a class to learn how to do, like running things like that, I can't wrap my head around. But the bigger issue in this is that preying mentality of them taking advantage of people who just don't know quite what they're talking about, right? And like, so it's this VIP perks that like a lot of the races are doing, where, like Jonathan's saying, like where they're fear-based selling the markup of, hey, drop us another $80 and you can have this nice clean Porta John. First off, how the fuck they know that thing's gonna be clean? Because guess what?
It's a Porta John. It's not gonna be clean.
That same Porta John they just sold you for $80, they offered it to all like 15,000 other runners. It just happens to be set off behind a gate. That guess what? I'm gonna hop that fucking gate anyways, and I'm gonna use it.
If I need to use it, I'm gonna use it.
So it's just if you don't give us this $80, you might not get to use the toilet before the race starts. Like, come on, man. Like it's not that bad, or like, again, this along the same lines. And I know for a fact these people around here exist. Is the you spend you go out and you buy a $150 pair of Hoka or a $150 pair of whatever, and then it drives me effing nuts. You spend all this money on these super expensive shoes that, oh, by the way, some dude just mapped your feet and told you this is the perfect shoe for you.
Yeah,
this is the shoe that's perfect for you. Oh, you know what you should do? You should totally buy this insert that goes inside of it. Oh, wait a second.
Right.
The fuck do I need the insert for if you just told me this shoe is the perfect shoe for me?
If the shoe's perfect shoe, why do I also need this? And like John said, it's that fear-based selling, and it's kind of a tough thing. Like when we started running, there was a good amount of information because obviously running's been happening for a little bit of, a couple 100,000 years. Not that long. That sounds like a long time. A couple thousand years. And obviously there's information out there, but it wasn't like overwhelming where there's all this stuff. They're like, hey, get some shoes that, support your feet properly. And that's really all it is. There wasn't, all of these shorts and shirts and special everything that you needed. And so it was a little easier as a new runner consumer to take, walk into a store or whatever and find what you need. Now there's just so many options and so many people trying to make a buck in any such way. And that's, that's a big pet peeve of mine too, is I have people ask me like, what kind of shoes do I need? And I'm like, go to a running store. They'll tell you, how your arch falls and stuff like that. I go, but you got to be careful where you go. I always send people to Columbus Running Company.
Yeah, CRC.
Always, because they're so great and they're so knowledgeable and they're not going to oversell you. If yes, shoes are expensive. You might buy $150 pair of shoes because that's the model just came out and that kind of works and you like the feel of it.
Don't go to Kohl's and buy a running shoe off the Kohl's rack. Like, God love Kohl's, but like, God love me some Kohl's bucks, but maybe not the place to buy running shoes.
Yeah. But with that, if you go to, there's certain places, and I'm not going to call them out by name because I wrote them down by name and I said, you know what, I'm not going to do that. But people that are listening to this probably know what we're talking about. If you know us,
if you've ran with us for more than 5 minutes on road and or trail, you have probably heard us.
You've heard us talk about this
length.
But it's like you spend this money and they're like John said, it's the perfect shoe for me. But all of a sudden they're like, oh, you also need to buy this custom insert. And it's like, yes, are there needs for orthopedics? Orthopedic. That's
orthopedic inserts. I don't know.
Orthotic inserts.
You know what? They're such bullshit. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, whatever. But there may be an actual need for it. If you have some medical, like there could be some issue there, and but you go to a doctor.
Right.
You go to a doctor that gives you a prescription, and you get them done, and your insurance covers.
You go to a PT. You go to a physical therapist, and they literally map your foot.
It's not something where you run on a treadmill and they do a heat sensor because you sat on some foam and you rocked back and forth, and they're like, here's your perfect mold because they warmed it up and they made you step. God, that bothers. I just want to name them so bad, but everyone already knows.
But the thing is, like, I have sent people there, told them, go here. They'll tell you what kind of shoe you should get,
and then go to Running Warehouse,
and then go to CRC and get them at CRC. Like I've done that because that place is. And they're not the only one. There's places.
There are a ton of places
that will just absolutely. They said, "Oh, this is perfect for you." Then that absolutely kills me.
And it goes from that into the kind of like what John was hinting at too is paying to learn how to run or to do any of that stuff. And it's like life experience is going to do that. The first time I went on a trail is because I went on a trail. Did I fall? Yes, I fell. Did I twist my ankle? Yes, I did. But guess what?
I still fall.
Right.
Like every 15th run, I still fall, bust my ass hardcore.
And you're like, but you just have to, you roll with it. You understand it's going to come.
Literally. Hey-o.
Fat boy running down the hill.
Yeah. I just fell for the possum turkey try. I fell and busted my ass. Remember? Was you there?
No.
I
was there. I didn't run with you.
Was it a turkey trot or was it the Christmas one? One or the other?
Christmas. It was Christmas because I wasn't there. I remember hearing about this.
And so not only did I fall, but I had two different shoes on.
Yeah, that's where because you didn't bring both pairs of shoes. You brought one of each.
I brought one of each, and then proceeded to bust my ass.
You brought one of each, and we're like, "Damn, I'll deal with it."
What could possibly happen? I'll tell you what can happen. You can fall and bust your ass down a hill.
But yeah, there's just so many options for new runners, and it's kind of a little bit of the fear of missing out, the fear-based selling of if you don't have this, you're not going to do anything. If you don't have the GPS watch that does all of these extra things. People that go out and run 5Ks, but then spend $700 because they have a watch that has a 25-hour GPS battery life. And it's like, hey, guess what, bro? You don't need it. Not happening. Or you need that.
Two or three of the most badass fast runners I know run with Timexes.
Yeah. They just need the time. That's all they want to know.
I found out one of the guys I run with a lot, that fucker's been running routes and has been underestimating them almost his entire adult life. He thought he's been running like, let's say 3 miles.
Yeah.
And he's been running like 5. I'm like, how the fuck? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I just
thought it was a slow 3 miles.
I just run. I'm like, that is, and those numbers aren't exact.
But yeah, still.
He's literally been like, so.
But yeah, you have that. And then you have like I need the latest water bottle because it's 2 ounces lighter.
So like, me and somebody are going through a thing right now where they need a vest. And the big thing is like how many bottles, how many and at the end of the day, get what is right for you for the, it's just.
That's why it's hard reading reviews and stuff because you'll read reviews and try to like piece together like, all right, is this good or not? And then you read the reviews and the people are like, I was hoping it would make my lunch for me too. And you're like, no, that's not how life works. What, like, don't expect, like, on that note, it didn't say this is what it does. So why are you expecting more?
On the note of new, like, things in running.
Yeah.
what is your position on the collapsible water bottles? Like you know what I mean? Like the squishy,
the light, well, like the one I have.
Yeah.
The one that I love them.
See,
Well, there's a back and forth. I like them until they're empty.
Who likes an empty water bottle?
Well, because there's not an easy way to store them. At least because what do I have? I have the Scott Jerk 3, I think, because it came with those. That's the only reason I got them. And once they're empty, they become a little harder to keep in the water bottle pocket. So I have to throw them in the back pocket.
Interesting.
Which then when I get to an aid station becomes a pain in the ass to get out of the back pocket.
Because do you have to put them in the back pocket because they're hard to get into the water pockets, or because they're hard to get, or do they not? They don't
stay. So they'll fall all the way down, and it like bothers me. It's like rubbing against the ribs because then the nozzle's right there. Other than that, the nozzle usually sticks out.
Yeah.
It's like you have you're like milking yourself while you're running.
Interesting.
But yeah, I like them, but then again, that's the only vest I've ever had. Yeah. So that's weird to me. I've never run with hard bottles on the front, but I liked it because it was softer. And as I got done with the fluids, I could throw it in my back. And then if I got to an aid station or something like that, be like, I could pull in, because it's easy to reach the stuff in the back of that one, pull it out, hand it to my crew and be like, fill these up. But they don't take up much space when they're empty.
And by the way, he talks to his crew just like that. Fill these up.
There's video proof of me walking in going, how you feeling? I need water.
Yeah.
And I just keep walking.
It's not, hey guys, thanks for being out here. Yeah. I love you guys. Thanks.
More full video. You finishing too? Or you running Mo? I'll pull some of the B-roll.
I am a delight on the trail.
This is all your fault. You made me do this. I hate you. Shut up. Shut up. This is your fault. I just want to sleep.
I broke the news to Jen that I'm like, you know what? Taking this year off has really kind of like restoked the fires. And I was watching her because we were driving when I was talking to her. I'm driving. She's in the passenger seat. I was like, taking this year off has really kind of restoked the fires. And I said, I kind of want to do at least another 100 next year. And I was kind of watching her out of the corner of my eyes. I said it, and I swear to God, I watched her little heart break. She did like the long, like the long blink. Solemn? Solemn? What's the S word I'm looking for? Like sad.
Sad.
No, gosh darn it. Our librarian is going to have to get on us. We are totally going to get...
You have to get that thesaurus out.
Hashtag you've been librarian.
Librarian.
She's like, get us. Oh, man, daggone it. Oh, wow. But yeah, I told you, she looked... She's like, I kind of figured this would happen.
Yeah, I knew this day was coming. I knew we'd have this conversation.
Yeah, well, what do you think? She's like, oh, I'll support you. I'm like, oh, poor Boo. So nice. So supportive.
You just... Take the punches with it and just roll with it.
God, she's a good wife.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
But yeah, so back to this. I think my issue with a lot of the growth is it's kind of just turned into a product, which I mean I get it. Again, it's one of those, it's like a back and forth. Like you guys said, like John said, there's some people that would be like, hey,
I like it. Give me more. I want more options. I want more of this. I want more of that.
I want more of this. But I think you have to really think about where racing came from, whether it's trail or road, because trail's going to hit this like peak here soon.
Oh, it's got to,
because it's ridiculous the amount of trail runs where, and like you said, groups getting nice trails and just ruining them because they're trying to overrun it. Like that's the difference between road and trail. Like trails, you run a race, you need to give it some time to form back. Like it's got to heal. The road, I mean, it's never healed anyway because there's potholes.
Yeah, and then you got to be careful, even giving it time. Not only is it given time, but you can't just like not sell out. Right, like you got to put maxes on stuff, and you got to max it out.
And we did that with Hangry. Like I mean, we could have filled up more on Hangry, but it was one of those where I gave it a hard cut at 250 because I'm like, no, one, it's going to be crowded. Two,
right?
I mean, the parks are nice enough to let us use a trail. I don't want to beat them to hell.
And then it's funny. It's like one of the like the really kind of interesting, probably often overlooked things about a race is that perfect balance between a good crowd where you have support and you got a fan, people out there cheering. So you want a fair amount of people, but you don't want a ton of people there that like you can't run,
right?
Because you're like
it becomes a walk because it's too tight.
because you're so crammed in. It is. It's a weird balance. I don't know. I just. It's that podium or that not podium. It's that pendulum that we were talking about before we started recording.
Yeah,
we were going over our notes and like that, and it's just right now running is in one of those pendulums where we've almost swung as far one direction as we can.
I would say road has hit that.
Yeah, and now it's going to be interesting. Well, yeah, because you said there's been that diminish.
Yeah.
So now, okay, we've hit that max. Now it's going to be interesting to watch it swing back. And it's going to be interesting to see what the big road running groups, corporations, whatever, begin to take away.
Well, I think what's happening, and this is kind of where the pendulum is swinging, is people are saying road races did all this stuff. They're all about the money, all this stuff. So what are we going to do? Well, trail running seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
And basically you're losing runners from the road running thing into the trail running, which can be great. But at the same time, if you have that same mentality of I'm doing all these races to get all this cool swag and stuff like that, then you go to trail like, well, why don't these have this? Then certain race directors are going to be like, well, I need to start selling this stuff or I need to start doing this stuff.
I wonder what the percentage balance is at is, okay, for every 5 road races, this many is 100% profit, this many is charity.
Yeah.
Compared to that same 5 in trail.
Trail's definitely more, I think.
More charitable.
Yeah.
I would think also. I wonder if that's maybe
But I think another thing with trail too, which is a lot of them are charitable, but sometimes the charities are supporting the parks and the trails.
Yes. They're kind of
which is not a bad thing at all.
I mean, we have a person that listens to our podcast a lot that I do a fair amount of running with who is going to be or is a member of the Metro Parks, some shape or form of way. Like if I'm not,
he's on the board.
Okay,
I know you're talking about. Yeah,
he's on the board, and he's going to do a pretty cool thing where he wants to introduce ultras into the park system, and so
people can see all of the parks and go to parks you don't know about.
So some of it's going to be profit because it's the park, but at the same time that profit is going to support the park. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's going to be like this duality.
Right. But I think that's why trail runs have more charitable because they instinctively already have something you need to support.
It's organic too.
Right.
Yeah, and like even that, like I could, Mo 100, right? Yeah. Like Mo 100, that homeboy is 100% profit.
Yeah.
Like there is no qualms about it. He is all about the profit. But at the same time, a ton of stuff that happens inside of his race, not a ton. Some of the stuff that happens inside his race also goes back to Mo and back to the trails and back to all this kind of stuff. So it's one of these weird things where like. It's organic to it, so there's money getting back into it. So I can even that I can stand behind. I don't know,
right? And it's I think it's a fine line, and who's to really say what that line is sure as hell isn't us because we're not experts on any of this stuff.
What the hell do we know? We're just rambling.
We're just rambling. We're drinking 2 beers tonight. It's gonna be we're gonna give a doozy today.
Frothy. So that's kind of I don't know. Do you have anything else about that's kind of my 2 cents about all the running stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're on the same page as I don't think, at least in trail, it hasn't hit a crazy point yet. And at least road, they're starting to wake up into some of this stuff. But I think the problem is, and it's society in general, is that fear of missing out and the fear-based selling orders where people are like, I need to get this because if I don't have the Apple Watch 3 and I'm running, if someone sees me have an Apple Watch 1, like, oh my goodness, what do you mean you don't have GPS on your watch? Or I don't know. It's just those kinds of things. But that has to do with like our society as a whole. It has nothing to do with running specifically. It's just how our society is in the gotta have it. If somebody else has it, I need it. And they've basically turned that into a marketing thing, as you know. Yeah. I found when I was doing some research, there's like 3 or 4 running shoe companies that make custom shoes now. So you get like whatever the shoe is, but you put like custom colors on it, put your initials, and they'll charge you like an extra $75 for that. And it's like, why do you need this? Like, hey, by the way, guys, you're going to go through 3 pairs of shoes, depending on how you're training, 2 or 3 pairs of shoes a year.
Yeah.
So don't spend $200 on a pair of shoes. Go to your local running store or go to runningwarehouse.com. Not yet a sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah.
One day we're going to get a sponsor and then we're like, no, but seriously, they are.
Yeah.
So please go visit them, I think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's really it. I can't think of anything else with that. I think we beat a dead horse there of running has changed. There's a lot more people now. And I think that's not a bad thing because people are healthier because of it. I love going to races. And I remember the first few races we went to, Kayla saw some people that were pleasantly plump. That would be the nice way to say it. And she's like, what do you think they're doing? I'm like, they have marathon bibs on. And she's seeing these people cross the finish line more often than not, much faster than me. And going, how do they do this? And I'm like, because it's not, you don't have to have a certain body shape to do this at all.
In case you guys haven't checked out our Instagram feed, I am girthy.
Yeah, we're two different shapes.
I am a Clydesdale.
Yeah, we're two different shapes. If you looked at the two of us, you'd be like, "Oh, Flores is definitely the one that like runs further, does whatever, and does this." And it's like, no, Flores is not. John's the stronger runner of the two of us. Period. And yeah, it's just I don't know. It's one of those things, but. Yeah, you have anything else on it? I know you asked me, but I don't. I'm done with ideas.
I feel like I've sufficiently beat that dead horse.
Are you now logging calories for this beer?
I am logging calories. Going back to me being a Clydesdale, I'm trying to stay at Clydesdale and not enter like fucking hippo.
Is that we should add that designation? Like, hey, you're so fat, Clydesdale doesn't work.
Clyde's like, hey, you are no longer in the Clydesdale division, boss. I'm like, fuck.
It's the Bison division.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Welcome to the Bison. We need to run out there and see the Bison. I've never run out there.
I think nope. I talked to
Andrea
somebody.
Keeps posting pictures about it.
It is. I have ran out there. It's really fun. And I could have my cardinal directions mixed up, but the Bison are to the north, which oddly enough, to see the Bison, it's a little bit more of a boring run.
I would believe so because you'd have to go out a little bit, like into nothing.
No. When I say boring, I just mean it's more open, flat, prairie kind of running, but it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
You park, and they're like less than 2 miles away from you.
Well, I mean, Andrea was posting some pictures with, I think, last week or there's one today, but I think it was from previous, but she had done that when she's walking.
But where you primarily park at, south is like really kind of cool trails, like with some hills and some elevation, stuff like that, and it's along the river. But to get to the Bison, you got to go north, and it's not the most exciting trails. It's like really, I'll tell you what, if you want some good heat training, that's probably it. Because that fucker is out in the open, full on sun.
I wish I had more time to get, this month's just been crazy. Because I feel like I'm not 100% ready for kettle from a heat training standpoint.
We should go do some miles Sunday.
We'll see.
I got a little jog around the park I'm doing on Saturday.
I think I'm playing on Sunday.
I'll be busy Saturday doing a little jog.
Yeah.
Me and 100 friends or so. Me and 150, I think. I think
that's the cutoff.
150.
We're talking about the Possum 50K, playing Possum 50K.
PP 50K.
Coming up this Saturday. So.
Jen and I have talked about how we're going to run it together or partially run it together so she doesn't murder me on the trail.
Mm-hmm. How's that happen?
So we're going to run.
Yeah, I want you to talk about it so we can follow up on Sunday when we record.
If I'm alive or not?
We'll follow up on Sunday of like, how did that plan go?
So this is the plan. So she wants to start early just because she's a warrior. So she's going to start early.
I don't think she should start early.
I don't think. But hey, what do we know?
She's perfectly fine finishing in that time.
Totally fine. But she's just kind of got that in her head. And she's got some people that she's going to start with, it sounds like. So she's going to start early. I'm going to start at the regular time. I'm going to run, catch up to her, and then run with her from that point until the next aid station. Okay. And then get her through that aid station. And then we are going to, once we leave aid stations, run maybe, a quarter of the way to half the way to the next aid station, and I'm going to pull away and run ahead and get to the aid station. And then I'm going to kind of like hang out and help at the aid stations and wait for her to come. And then when she gets there, I'm going to get her all set up, get her fed, drink, and all that kind of stuff. And then her and I are going to leave the aid station together and then run a quarter to halfway to the next one. I'm going to pull away. That way I'm still around. I'm still near to help her out with anything. But at the same time, I'm not like in her ear chirping the whole time. She's not
having to hear you, not nag. Nag's not the word for it.
No, because nag is an understatement of what I do. I'm a punisher. I I am not the nicest. Yeah, sweep the leg. Yeah. I'm not the nicest pacer, and I get that. I'm a bit of a drill sergeant kind of mentality. Like I belittle you.
It happens.
You're pathetic. No, I don't do that.
Yeah. But if you can tell, we're on our local events portion.
Yeah. We've transitioned.
So
we have
a smooth transition.
That was a soft.
John had a good idea about an outing for there. So if you guys be down for that, maybe we'll just have to see the interest. But just leave a comment below the post here on Facebook where we have the episode post each week. Just leave a comment saying see if you'd be down to do like a Clippers game or something like that. And if we get enough interest, we can reach out to the promo folks there. Get like our name on the scoreboard.
Bro, I am sweating like a whore in church. I know you guys are getting removed. Have you guys turned the fucking AC off in the house?
We haven't turned the AC on.
Sweet baby Jesus, it is hot.
Well, it doesn't help. This room's the hottest room in the house.
But good God,
yeah,
fat boy is sweating. Like I am moist. Moist. Hashtag moist.
Hashtag moist. But yeah, if you're interested in any sort of event or anything like that, and then or maybe like even like a group run, like you get like a get together group run.
My God. Look at that professional transition.
What? It was until you said it.
Well, you're killing me because I keep wanting to get to it. I want to know if people have signed up for this like Hoof-Hearted Run Club.
I've never even heard of it.
So I just Don Morris posted something on like Hoof-Hearted posted like, oh, Run Club's coming back or coming, and I saw Don had posted something. It was like finally or something like that. But I'm just kind of curious like. The only thing is that gets all the way down on 4th. And
that's a hike.
And it's on 670. It's north of 670 on 4th. So it's like kind of weird.
I know you love it, but that side piping.
Dude, that side piping cracks me up. That is one of the funniest beer logo cans I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, like I could even be talked into on any given possibility of like doing a podcast meet-up group run at Hoof-Hearted maybe.
So actually tomorrow, so this episode will come out Tuesday the 15th. On the 16th, they're doing the inaugural 2018 5K run at Hoof-Hearted in Italian Village, departing at 6 p.m. No membership fee, just show up, run, and drink half off drafts afterwards.
Dude, this 16th, I'm actually busy.
And then it just goes right back to what we were saying. Running hats will be available for purchase, and running shirts with this year design are on order.
Every chance they get, give us money. It's just like every time you turn around.
But I keep dropping these cans. But if that's the T-shirt design, expose yourself to running.
I would rock a trucker hat with that on for sure.
Yeah,
if that had there's actually I don't think she listens. Like it's a newly. Well, you know what? I was on a training run, and kind of like we were friends on Facebook, but we like actually met each other on a training run. Because if you run, you don't make a friend. You're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
And she had a badass trucker hat on, and it was it just said Run Ohio.
Yeah.
And it was from what's that like Colorado company BOCO. I don't know if they call them
Boco gear.
Yeah, it was a Boco hat.
It was Boco hat?
It was a Boco hat.
Dude, just reach out to them. They'll make it.
Well, but I don't want the...
No, you don't have to.
They'll make it with like everything except for like the logo on the back.
We might have to order like 10 of them.
But it just said... but they already have it on style because they've already designed it. They've already sold it.
Right, but they still may do a minimum if there's any... But no, because Boco does... We'll reach out to Boco.
Okay, because I want that hat, but then I'm like...
we just do the hat, put RBBS on it.
Well, it's funny because like... and then we'll give them away. Yeah. We're not charging for shit, folks.
Nope, that's how we do.
But it's funny because like I saw that hat, I'm like, God, I love that hat. And then her and I got to talking about it. I'm like, where'd you get that? She said she got it. I'm like, fuck. She's like, yeah, I hate them too, but I had to get the hat. And I said, well, does it say it? And she's like, yeah, it's big, huge stitch in the back. And then our conversation literally turned into, how can we get that off? Like,
I wonder, how can we get this off and not rip the entire scene?
How do we take it off? Can we put a patch over it? Like it completely evolved. I'm reaching out to Boco.
Side note stuff. If you guys don't know, Boulder, Colorado gear, they make hats, and I think they do some like buff stuff, custom stuff. Like I've got a selfie hat from them, which is pretty cool. All their running hats, they have like their running truckers are like amazing because they're like real flexible, they're real soft. They're like
they have multiple styles of hats too.
They're great. I think it's just bocogear.com.
I think so.
That sounds right. I'll have it in the show notes once I figure out what it actually is.
Yeah. But anywho,
sorry, but John was saying like a running
hoof-hearted running club. Like so, this
or a running group for us is too.
Going back to local events. I am taking my daughter and one of her friends to a concert Wednesday night. So if you're at Vance Joy,
Vance Joy,
yeah. So taking Jordan to Vance Joy Wednesday night.
That sounds like a fun show. No pun intended. Actually, I like Vance Joy.
I feel like I know one of his songs.
Everyone does.
Right, because
they just know the one. Riptide, I think.
Yes, that is the one. Yeah.
He's good.
He's not bad. So I'm not.
I like because he's an acoustic player. So he definitely jams out.
Yeah. So
where's that at? Where's that show at?
Let's say we at the LC.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know if it's inside or outside. I don't know if it's which one it is, but there's supposed to be storms all this week. So I'm assuming it's gonna be inside.
Yeah.
Because they have the ability to. It's pretty amazing how fast they can like rotate in and out.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I went there for a concert one time. Jen and I went to a Mumford & Son concert there years ago, and it was supposed to be outside, and they oversold it. Like, we're moving it to the outside. Yeah. Or it was supposed to be inside.
They moved to the outside because they oversold.
They oversold it big time, and then moved it to the outside, and then like basically opened up gates and everything, and people were just like standing in like a big ass parking lot and all kinds of shit. For being in Mumford & Son, which you think of being like super chill hippies and shit like that, those motherfuckers were getting after it. And like poor little Jen straight got feisty as shit.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I could see her be like, get out of my space.
Yeah, so
you're in my zone.
The third, the dude bumped into her for like the 15th time, and she's ready to like, that is it. That is
she's throwing bows.
Absolutely enough. Like all 5'4" of her got fucking vicious.
So, a little bit happening here. John had a good experience at a brewery this week.
Oh, dude. So if you guys are ever way out east, and it is way out there, they're on the ale trail. I do believe.
Oh, are they? I need to do that like one of these times.
It's 41 fucking breweries now.
Ugh.
It's 41 breweries.
You know what I say? That sounds like a weekend.
That sounds like a Dewey.
We literally we don't bring all of the recording equipment. We just bring the recorder and our 2 microphones and just go to each one of the places.
Dude, there's no way you could do that in a weekend.
Challenge accepted?
100% cannot do that. There's no way. Dude, that's 20 beers.
They said we couldn't get through Ice House.
I mean, that'd be 20 beers a day.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. So,
when you break it down in the simple math.
Well, and here's the other thing is now you have of those 41, there's one in Lancaster. There's obviously 2 in Delaware. There's this one way out in Buckeye Lake. There's 3 in Newark, I think now. I mean, they're just
all over the place.
They're way out there now. But anywho, we are talking specifically today about Buckeye Lake Brewery. That place was super cool.
They just have a tap room. They have like a restaurant and stuff too.
No, and so that's right. So we didn't have any of the food. I had a new sales guy with me. Our appointment, we had an appointment way out in Buckeye Lake, and I've been meaning to hit this brewery up for a while. And so the appointment we went to was an absolute I mean, dude just knew what he wanted. We're not the company for that. So I'm like, we're out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but good news, new guy, we are going to a brewery. He's like, okay.
Welcome to work.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, so what's funny is as we're driving from this person's place to this brewery, I was like, so what kind of beer do you normally drink? He's like, pretty much whatever, which normally means, anything like major.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, well, here we go. So we go in there. He has no clue. So they have a beer called Miller's Port, actually, I think it's Miller's Porter.
Okay.
Which Miller's Port is out there. So it's Miller's Porter. He got that not knowing it's a porter. And that thing came out looking like motor oil. Ooh. And my dude was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't like this.
He's like, drinking. I'm like, so what do you think of that? He's like, that's the first time I've ever had a porter. That is really good.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, all right.
Welcome to the dark side.
And then he's like,
literally.
And he's like, well, what should I get next? I'm like, oh, you're leaving it up to me? Well, shit. And I'm like, well,
Russian Imperial.
Well, so I'm like, why don't you try that Scotch Strong that they have up there? So it came in at 10%. By the way, Buckeye Brewery, if you get out there during happy hour, you get a 20-ounce pour for a pint price. So we're drinking 20-ounce beers for a pint price. Well, so the Scotch Strong comes in at 10%, and I'm like, dude, if he gives you a 20-ounce pour on this, like, I'm carrying your ass out of here.
Yeah.
It came in a tulip, like a like a sniffer, obviously. Yeah. And he's like, good God. He's like, that is super good. So I'm like, well, shit, I'm just gonna have fun with this now. And I'm like, hey, what's your guys' like beer? Like, what is your like cult following? Mm-hmm. And they have one called the Shovelhead, I think, which is a double IPA. And I'm like, dude, go ahead and get that double. Now here, oh my God. I didn't even mean for.
Oh my God.
My God. So, didn't mean like this is oddly enough. We can make a direct correlation here from running conversation to the beer conversation.
Okay.
The one thing that Buckeye Brewery does that is kind of funny because it's funny because I realize it's all bullshit, but it's kind of funny because like our bartender's like, dude, people eat these damn things up. They have what they call grapefruit bombs, right? Well, right now it's grapefruit. Bomb. So anytime it can, sometimes it's grapefruit, sometimes it's raspberries, but whatever. But they call them bombs. All it is pureed for all intents. We'll talk about what they had the night we was out there. It's grapefruit.
Yeah. Okay.
Pureed grapefruit, or like chopped up grapefruit, frozen into a ball.
Okay.
Right? So, like, if you drink bourbon, you know how it has that ice ball?
Yeah.
Imagine that, like, with fruit, like, with grapefruit in it.
Okay.
So, all they're doing is...
It's like an icicle.
Yes. They're taking those, and they're putting them in one of their beers. So, what it does is, for the double IPA, for example, right, the Shovelhead they have out there, when you drink it straight, it's got some hop to it. I mean, it's coming in pretty high on the IBUs. Well, you drop that bomb in there, and it takes all of that hoppiness away.
Really?
And it obviously introduces even more of a grapefruit flavor.
Right.
And I'm like, so like when he was telling me that like people are doing this, I'm like, isn't that kind of just dumbing down like, the beer you guys are making? And he's like, for guys like you, yeah, I can see that. And he's like, but for people who are like. He's like...
For people I want to buy this double IPA.
Yes. I'm like, how many of those were you doing tonight? He's like, about 100.
What?
I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
How much do they charge for them?
I think it was like $1 to $2 extra.
I mean, it's not terrible,
it's not
but...
insane, but I mean, think about
$200.
That's 100 fucking bones a night.
Yeah.
If it's $1, right?
Right.
Obviously. But he literally had a bucket. I mean, a fucking bucket that he's sitting there pouring them, and he's just like flipping them out, dropping them into the 20-ounce glass, and bam, pouring the beer over it. And he's like, yeah. And they are the only place I've ever seen in this city. He even said, it's like, we're the only place that does this.
Right.
But people, I mean, I'm not shitting you. The time that we sat there, me and that guy sat there, I must have watched, I bet 3 out of 5 that he poured was that.
FOMO.
But
can't not try it.
So, but they had a bunch, but the restaurant they have out there is really good too. They have it is kind of, they have crab cakes that I guess people said the crab cakes there were like killer good, which
they're not from Buckeye Lake,
which is kind of funny because I'm like, imagine that, like you're sitting next to Buckeye Lake and you have crab. I'm like, I'd be kind of cognizant. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. But like multiple people who walked in and talked to us said, no, those are absolutely phenomenal.
Huh.
But no, Buckeye Lake Brewing. If you guys are way out east at Buckeye Lake, I wholeheartedly encourage you to try it. It's been there for 6 years. I didn't know they'd been there for that long.
Really?
I knew they'd been there for a couple years, but they've been there for 6 years, he said.
Huh. All right. Well, yeah, Buckeye Lake Brewing, we'll have that in the show notes. You got anything else before we close this stuff out as you pound that beer? Nothing else?
Nope.
All right. Well, as we said earlier, you can find all of the things we talked about and the links and the articles and that sort of thing on our place on the web, runningbeerandbs.com/EP018 for episode 18. You can also find us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Run Beer and BS. We'd love if you reached out to us on social media, give us some beer recommendation, topic ideas, share your training runs with us. If you did any races this past weekend, we know a couple people that had. just shoot us over pictures. Make sure you use the hashtag RunBeerAndBS. We follow those so we see what's going on there. You can also email us any questions and stuff. We'd love to start getting some email messages from everyone. You can email us at podcast@runningbeerandbs.com. If you do like the podcast, please consider subscribing, leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform, wherever you get those podcasts. We read the ones that are on iTunes and Facebook. We usually do a review of the week, but we didn't have any reviews this week. So